and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Welch Report with me, young Welch. Make some noise. That's right, clap it up, get excited wherever you are, my gosh. You want to talk about a jam-packed episode? We got so much to discuss on this show for you today with just a cavalcade of news. We just may go 3 hours with how much stuff we got to talk about on this show. Not just in the boxing world, but also in the NBA. We can finally talk about some mega news to lead off the show. In the NBA, LUKA has been traded. Canelo Alvarez and Crawford has been not even all, has been officially confirmed. There's no more speculation. And we got to talk about Benavidez versus Morrell in the dominating win that was the monster, the Mexican monster, one of the most feared boxers in the world, again beating another top contender, not prospect, legitimate threat. Now, what does this say about his tenure at light heavyweight and his options, not necessarily options, his ability and likelihood to be able to fight and win against the likes of how do you say a Bevo or Benavidez, whatever the case may be. We have it's oh my gosh, it's so much. We're gonna talk about with you, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Tell me if my audio is good or not. I gotta make sure everything's all hunky-dory with what I got going on. Hopefully, all this thing should be rocking like it should be. We're gonna be again rocking it on my own as we doing this show. But again, we got so much to discuss. We got so much to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you would go ahead, leave a like on the stream, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. Excuse me, my apologies. But also, we got to, when it comes to the world of sports, hey, we're available on every podcasting platform imaginable. You can listen to us in your car, on your job, wherever you may be. We are here to aim and please. Absolutely. So again, listen to us everywhere. Rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell me, and we will get there. Oh, absolutely. But again, we still have so much to discuss on this show, and we got to lead this off with boxing. Oh, yeah. Since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into... Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. I'll leave it up to you. Do y'all want to talk about boxing first, or do you want to break down the monumental trade in the NBA? We got news on both ends of the spectrum that are so incredible, that is so fantastical, that it's shocking everybody. It is indeed shocking the world. What do y'all want to discuss first? I'll leave it to you real quick. If nobody decides, well, I'll make the decision on my own. We can either talk about boxing first, or we can talk about the NBA. What do you all want to discuss? But real quick, I'll read the chats while you're... Oh, and speaking of chats, also, if you want to talk about something, if you want to go, give your opinions, give your thoughts, it is right here for the world to be able to see and listen to. We'll bring it up on the chat. We'll make it happen. We'll make it so that everybody has a voice, everybody has an opportunity, and everybody can truly be involved in the show. Whatever your debates are, hopefully I spelled debates right. Whatever your debates are, whatever your comments are, put it in the chat, and we'll make it happen. Absolutely. We good? Hello? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, had to make sure. I'm trying to make sure that everything is all good when it comes to this my stuff. I don't want so excuse me if I'm multitasking. It's been so much going on. I'm trying to get everything prepped and ready. Oh gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot, but in the best way possible. I love it. But regardless of which, we still got a lot to talk about. And let's see what you all have to say. First of all, yo, Justin Kemp, what's going on? How are you doing? Appreciate you tuning in to the show. Thank you so much for coming on the Welch Report. Yo, SSJ, what's all going on with you? How you doing? Glad that you here. Glad that you around. Glad that you are tuned in to the hottest show on all the globe, the Welch Report, with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Let's see. Benavidez versus Morrell was a 60-40 fight. I thought as I thought it'd be. Benavidez's experience showed down the stretch. Well, since you're here, I guess we're going to jump into the world of boxing before we touch on the NBA. We'll touch on the LUKA trade later on, even though it's a monumental aspect. But hey, Y'all started the conversation, so we're going to continue it. We are going to talk about boxing right now as the first segment. Since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. Oh, yes, that's right. I'll ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. Yes, indeed. And we got a lot to discuss in the world of David Benavidez versus David Morrell. That's right. And I'm fighting, hey, I called it. I may not have gotten the knockout, but I called it right. I said it was going to happen, doggone it. And what transpired absolutely came to fruition. Now we get to see the world of David Benavidez again continue to grow and flourish and shine because Benavidez was able to dominate the likes of David Morrell. Oh yes, indeed. Oh yes, he did. It was a demolition job of the likes that, hey, as close as this fight was being talked about, there was a clear discrepancy in not just the experience, but also in the ability for Benavidez to take hits and keep on working, keep on trucking, and keep on legitimately being the dominant dog in a big division. Now, are there some questions? Absolutely. But more things were answered on the side of David Benavidez that we and a lot of the public were looking and saying, yo, are you really about that life when it comes to this elevated level of a threat in the light heavyweight division? So let's break it down right now. Wrong button. There we go. Breaking down right now, shall we? Let's see what SSJ has to say. I'm actually interested in how Canelo handles Benavidez's pesky jab, and I highly doubt Benavidez would ever want to fight Benavidez. Well, again, with how Benavidez has been moving, let's address that first. He ain't scared to fight nobody. Let's get that straight right now. Morrell was calling him out. Morrell was in the circle of Canelo and Benavidez around that threat level of can he be the man to actually, knock both of them off as a legitimate contender. Benavidez fights him the second he gets into the his crosshairs and turns, okay, now we're on the same level in the scale of we are both fighting, and whoever wins gets a shot at the title legitimately. Feel my way, I'm going to take you. That's exactly what he did. And with that jab, hey, it was fluid. It was phenomenal. It was powerful, and it always kept Morrell essentially engaged. And we didn't let Morrell escape and utilize that footwork. In fact, shoot, let's break down the fight right now, shall we? Yes, indeed, we might as well go for it. What happened in this fight with David Benavidez and David Morrell that caused Benavidez to be so successful? Well, sit down, take a breather, take a load off, and let's jump right into what transpired and what the legitimate, incredible situation was that allowed this victory to be possible. Well, number one, when we look at this, again, the jab. Like I said in my breakdown, did I not call it? Did I not call that the jab was going to be effective just like it was against Hot Rod? The ability to consistently be able to go through and break through the guard of Morrell and make that, again, that defensive head movement null and void by consistently being able to break through the defense of Morrell. Because our high guard is so susceptible to being broken through and being broken out, and especially with Morrell in this fight, essentially shelling up after the first round, not nearly using the amount of footwork that he said he was going to use in this fight that he claimed that Benavidez did not have. That brother and both of them literally were walking and stalking. More so, Benavidez was walking him down on top of the jab, continuing walking him down. Benavidez never let Morrell get on the front foot for nearly the entire fight. What did we say was one of the biggest things to make Morrell be able to be successful? Have the ability to go and make the fight at your pace. You force the issue. You push Benavidez back. You are the one that is the aggressor. You are the one that's causing Benavidez to feel the ring closing around him. You got to do that. And you've been doing that against every other opponent. And why couldn't you do it? Because you weren't physical enough. Did I not tell you all that we thought Benavidez was going to be strong, and as a puncher he could hurt him, and he did hurt him. Oh, don't get me wrong, he hurt him twice. There was a fluke knockdown. It was blocked. The Morrell threw that right, was it the right hook that caught Benavidez on the armpit, but it pushed him off balance and knocked him down, even though it shouldn't have been a knockdown. More so, he just got thrown off balance on a blocked shot. It literally didn't hit anything, but hit his armpit and or shoulder. But either way, he hurt him legitimately. in that fight, at least twice. One was after the bell with that cheap shot that Morrell threw. And the other one was legitimately a counter that Morrell threw. And the ability for Morrell to counter, hey, with Benavidez being such a stalker, that was a real threat. And the power that Benavidez would be able to take was in question due to what? Again, the elevated threat level of the higher weights and the puncher that was David Morrell. Now, when he did get caught, what happened? The brother recovered incredibly quickly. See, I think that's what we forgot about David Benavidez. His ability to recover, his ability even when he's hurt, it's not just having a chin. A chin doesn't just mean, okay, you just don't get rocked and hurt. A chin is your ability, even if you do get hurt, how quickly can you recover and get back where you need to be? That's why we marvel at the likes of Tyson Fury, because of his ability to, even when he is hurt, to legitimately turn the tide, recover, and get back like nothing happened in that very round. And Benavidez is the exact same thing. Legitimately got hurt, got rocked, and by the end of, not even by the end, the second he got rocked, within 10 seconds, the brother was already catching Morrell, had turned him to the ropes, and was legitimately continuing to apply the pressure that he had been putting on Morrell all fight long. This wasn't a fluke as to, maybe it was that Morrell was just not that great. Morrell wasn't that talented. No, Morrell was a dog. Morrell is a dog. Morrell, even in his young career, is a legitimate threat. But this just shows the elevated levels of David Benavidez. On top of that, the defense that we talked about with David Benavidez in the past, how it got better, how we saw the improvement with Gvozdyk, that also showed true in this fight. He held Morrell to what? Almost only 30% punches on the whole. He was landing up to what? 44 for the entire fight. To the Benavidez was literally blocking almost all of Benavidez's shots every single time. Morrell and his shots were getting blocked by Benavidez nearly every single time, or just about every time that was going on. It was incredible. It was phenomenal. It was genuinely a sight to behold when we look at the landscape of this contextual, impactful fight. We were saying that Benavidez, if you get caught by Morrell, it could spell trouble. And when he got caught, he did get rocked. But on the flip side, the brother only got caught twice, and legitimately, his defense, his blocking, his distance control, and his ability to even didn't have to do all the stuff he was doing against Gvozdyk. Simply leaning back was all that he needed to do to be successful and to get where he needed to be. And it was phenomenal. It was an incredible, genuinely, it was an incredible display. I don't think we understand truly how great this fight was for David Benavidez. This was phenomenal. And then when it came to moving forward, the brother legitimately was utilizing great offensive tactics, and the elevated experience level was shown throughout. Morrell only had a one-track mind and only one ability to go and get the likes of David Benavidez. Benavidez could walk you down, would attack the body with hooks, would rip the guard down with his jab and throw hooks around it, literally making openings for his ability to land, for his ability to punch, for his offense to truly shine. Instead of just trying to bulldoze his way through, he was tactical while still being destructive. It was incredible, and still kept that same high output that we were saying. Stamina-wise, hey, it could be a concern. Now, he did get tired, understandable. He was still getting a little more fatigued than I would like. Was it better than Gvozdyk? Absolutely. But even still, that is still a concern. That can still be a problem. That is still something that if, again, going up against the likes of Benavidez and even a Bevo, that could be spelled real danger. But even still, even when he got tired, everything he did was right. When he had to be more defensive to regain his breath, to regain his stamina, he did it flawlessly. He did it phenomenally. He negated everything that Morrell wanted to do and made Morrell into a sitting duck. Everything that Morrell said he was going to do and was going to use, he couldn't use. It was rendered null and void. The Mexican monster is a monster, not just because of his ability to be a great offensive fighter, which he is. There is no question about that. There's no question about it. But it's the legitimate experience that consistently, day by day, fight by fight, we see him implement in new ways every time out. It's a truly incredible spectacle. It is a phenomenal, and I do mean phenomenal, type of situation. This brother is smart. This brother is tactical. This man has mastered the fundamentals and is able to utilize it and expand on it to be able to be so aggressive, especially against a heavy-handed puncher, and still come out nearly unscathed. Again, he did get caught. He did get rocked. He did get hurt. But it's the fact that for 12 rounds, you saw this brother was as aggressive as Benavidez was being, as front-footed as Benavidez was aiming to fight, as poignant on trying to deal damage and walking through and walking to Morrell, to only get caught twice for the entirety of the fight and then recover so quickly to the point that there is still, even with that lapse or that one scary moment, I believe, what was it, round 4 or round 5? I got my fight notes right here in terms of what happened in each and single round. But when it happened, it was just like, oh, shoot, yeah, no, this brother, he's okay. And even when Morrell was having success, it always got ripped away from him. And Morrell, more and more, what happened? Got flat-footed, got more defensive, footwork went away, the body attack was starting to take hold. And by the end of the fight, he was desperate for a knockout, and they couldn't do anything. And then it was like everything that we said, that everything that people thought Morrell would be able to do against David Benavidez, who was seen as slow, who was seen as not as strong, who was seen as not nearly as fluid and or slick, that Morrell would be everything that Benavidez would hate to go up against. Now, it looked just like Gvozdyk. This fight looked just like Gvozdyk. This fight looked just like the likes of David Lemieux, even without the knockout. This fight looked just like David Morrell. Not David Morrell. Who's the other brother? Another black brother that he went and just teed off on. I can't remember his name. But Davis. Fight looked just eerily similar to the fight that we've seen with Benavidez versus Davis. We've seen this story before. And everybody was saying that it wouldn't happen. But lo and behold, it happened. Just like we said it would. Just like we said it would. Just like we have seen Benavidez consistently accomplish every single fight out. Now, with that being the case, again, I had him winning just about every round. Because Benavidez just was that dominant. Was landing the harder shots. Was blocking all of Morrell's shots. Was making Morrell systematically break down. And even though, yes, David Benavidez didn't necessarily hurt Morrell severely, the shots were enough to where Morrell couldn't throw anything back. Just like Gvozdyk. This is literally Gvozdyk 2.0, but if Gvozdyk had landed a couple of solid shots, and even then, we saw from a more, which looks like to be a more powerful puncher, Benavidez walked through them, or got hurt, got stunned, recovered in less than 10 seconds, and went back on the prowl. So everything that we saw in this fight was the same thing that we saw in the Gvozdyk fight. Utilizing different angles, going in and opening holes in Morrell's game, catching Morrell with the jab, walking Morrell down, stalking Morrell, having Morrell's work rate get less and less and less as the fight went on. The seemingly helpless ability to really do anything, the inability and the unwillingness to really throw anything back due to the sting on David Benavidez's punches, or just enough where you can't just let them slide. You got to have some level of defensive responsibility at all times, just like with Gvozdyk. And even then, Benavidez was breaking through with the uppercut, was breaking through with the hook, was landing the right straight and the jab all fight long through the guard. His punches were faster. His punches were more fluid. His punches were everything that we said David Morrell was going to be able to do and utilize in his punches against the likes of David Benavidez. We are not trying to hype up David Benavidez as a faux pas star, as just somebody who, just because he's attached to Canelo, oh yeah, he is indeed great. No, this man for real is one of the best boxers in the world. And the dominating aspect of him is not just because of the power that he showed at 168. Because we just saw, without the same level of pop in his punches that he had at 168, he was still made he still was able to make the same, another elite opponent submit. Not necessarily submit as in going, getting knocked out or quitting on the stool, but submit in terms of there's nothing I can really do. I saw it in his face. I saw it in his eyes. I saw it in his body language. As much as he tried to stick his tongue out and talk and jab and all that stuff, wasn't working. And he knew it. He knew it. His fight style changed once that happened. Later in the fight, because he couldn't get it done in round 5, what happened, the takeover again started. Just like with Gavasik. This is not a new story. This is the same way. He's beating every opponent. Another slick fighter that is incredibly strong, that should have been able to give him a whole lot of trouble. He did everything except for get the knockout, but dominated him. Made Morrell look like nowhere close to his ability because he's not on that level. And that's not, that's not to disparage. That's just the reality of the situation. And because of that, we got to give props what props is due. We have to. We have to. We just have to. It is incredible. It is phenomenal. It is stupendous what we're seeing from Benavidez. And the biggest thing about this, even without power, this man's skill is making him be able to dominate everybody in the division. He is. This man's skill. We said we were scared he couldn't knock anybody out. How can his punches, if his punches ain't got the same pop, it's not going to be as effective. We just saw this brother had the same effect. Second 168, second 175. Though the pop was not there, everything else still looked like the same Benavidez that was overwhelming and drowning all of his opponents in offense and with incredibly smart and effective defense. He didn't even do all the fancy stuff that he did against Gavasik. And still, he made Morrell look, even in his successes, everything was getting blocked. Everything was getting stopped. Everything was able to, when Morrell had him on the ropes, he was able to escape immediately and then put him back on the ropes. There was nothing that Morrell was able to do effectively. Again, he had one counter and one other good shot, but outside of that, nothing really worked because Morrell genuinely got beat physically, mentally, and from a skill standpoint. Many people said that wasn't going to happen. We said you can't just rely on the power. It's got to be something more to be great. Benavidez is something more. Indeed, he's something more. He's incredible. My gosh, I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see this brother continue to shine and flourish as his career goes on. But let's see what people have to say on the show, on the stream. Let's see right now what people got to say. Benavidez is causing unnecessary roadblocks for the Benavidez versus Bebo winner and wanting to fight not to be in Saudi when he was cool with fighting Canelo in Saudi Arabia. Again, he was cool with fighting Canelo in Saudi Arabia, from what I understand, because Turkey Al-Sheikh wanted it. He wanted it, and he said he'll fight anywhere, and if that's the way to do it, he'll do it. Now, he said he's not coming back down to 168. Bump that. He's going for undisputed, wholeheartedly. And if Canelo wants to fight him, he's got to come out to his domain. And if he does win, yeah, I can see that fight happening in Mexico. Oh, I guarantee you. If that does happen, if this fight does take place and he does become an undisputed champion, I can definitely see that fight happening in Mexico. And one of the biggest Mexican fights, not just Mexican fights, one of the biggest fights that we've seen in boxing history, point blank period, in the mecca of where both of their fan bases reside. Oh, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. I can't wait for it to happen. Most definitely. Yo, Rusty Cage, how you doing? What's up with you? Good to see you. Salute to you. Watch your boy. Viva El Monstro. What a tremendous fight. Oh, absolutely. 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 3 max from where? That's about what I had. I had less, to be perfectly honest. I had less than 3 rounds for Dave Morrell because of the consistent great work and the defensive prowess that Morrell showed in this fight. Essentially stopping, blocking, and evading everything that Morrell was trying to do. It was a complete and total domination against an opponent that many people said either A, was going to beat him, or B, that Benavidez had no business fighting against, because that is your If Benavidez is Canelo's biggest op, Morrell at 175 should have been the man to stop him. And what happened? The brother looked just like we've always seen him look. Phenomenal, incredible, and utterly unstoppable. It's just the nature of the beast. Now that that's the case, with this fight, what does this say for Benavidez's ability to fight at 175 against Benavidez or Bivol? And I would like to pose this question to you all before we get into the topic. If Morrell and Benavidez, not Morrell, excuse me, I'm so sorry. If Benavidez fought Benavidez or Morrell, who would be more likely that he could be able to beat for the undisputed title, depending on who won the rematch, in your opinion? But let's see. That knockdown was craziness. I feel. Oh, it was. Again, he caught him on the elbow, or excuse me, he caught him on the back shoulder or on the armpit with a hook, and Benavidez was raising his arms to block it, and he threw him off balance, but nothing landed. There was not a shot that landed. It was a punch that hit the guard that threw him off balance, but it wasn't a clean shot. So no, it shouldn't have been a knockdown. I hate that it was a knockdown. That shouldn't have been anything. And again, he got a point deducted in the round, directly after the round, because Benavidez came out like a house on fire afterwards. In the last 10 seconds, was throwing shots. He landed a shot right at the end of the bell, and then Morrell retaliated immediately with a clean shot. And even off of that clean shot, when Benavidez got stumbled a little bit because he was unprotected, I was like, yo, what the world? What are you doing? But then I also thought immediately, after the point got taken away, this was his best shot to get the win. Outside of the other rock situation, when he rocked Benavidez with that late shot at the end of the round, that was his best opportunity to actually get a win. Because if he had bum rushed him and legitimately tried to work after that dirty shot, it could have been, though it was intentional. And you're right, the shot was intentional. The shot was late. But even with that, if Morrell had attempted to try to really push the pace, because he saw that he stumbled him again, though it was incredibly dirty, but this could have been a situation where he could have actually gotten an upset, hypothetically. But this speaks to the recovery ability of Benavidez, as well as the legitimate, smart way that he's able to consistently walk down opponents while still being defensively responsible, hurt or not. Why the monster is the monster? Because he's not just a bulldozing force. He's not just a wrecking ball. He is a wrecking ball with pinpoint precision, as well as spatial awareness of what to and what not to do, what to hit and what not to hit, where to go and where not to go, to really get the most finite cracks in your game and to render everything that you want to do null and void. He is such a threat. And now for the undisputed title, where does that threat take him if he goes? Because now, understand, he is the mandatory. He is the mandatory for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Now that that's going to happen, we're here. It's time. Oh, yes. He is going to be there. Potentially by the end of this year, he'll get a shot. Now that that's the case, would it be better that he fought Bivol or Benavidez if we're looking to see who he could actually make this, who could actually make this dream a reality on the side of Benavidez? In terms of would he be more likely to beat? I would say if Bivol beats Benavidez, Bivol loses to Benavidez. If Bivol beats Benavidez, unless he knocks out Benavidez, which, my gosh, if he does that, okay, no, whole thing's flipped. But if Bivol beats Benavidez, I don't think he's going to be able to beat the likes of Benavidez. If they did fight against, or at least it would be more likely that Benavidez would beat him, because of the fact that walking down pressure, and again, it is the ability to be, he does defensively, he could walk you down and still be safe with all of his shots and match the speed and fluidity that Bivol does in his volume of punches. Genuine. And with Bivol not having nearly as much power as a Benavidez, as a Morrell, as a David Lemieux, or anybody else in the division, he is a boxer. He's phenomenal. He's incredible. He makes everybody look silly. And he's got the toughness to beat anybody. Genuine. That's why he didn't get knocked down from the likes of Benavidez. Though he was getting hurt. Though he was starting to, the breakdown process was coming. And it was happening. And it was still, the fact that he stood up was phenomenal. We broke down the fight on this very channel. But regardless of which, we're looking at this man and we're saying this is, if you were to beat anybody of those two for the title, it would be Bivol. If you were to do it. Because against Benavidez, I don't know. And I love Benavidez. He can't beat Benavidez. Oh, no. Oh, gosh, no. My gosh, no. I don't think he can. If he did, shoot. I tell you what, both fights are still incredibly impressive. If he beats any of them to become a light heavyweight undisputed champion, you're talking about historical markers. You're talking about now you have officially and completely carved out your own legacy. Like you're already doing right now. Reaching the top of the mountain in this, oh gosh, that would be incredible. That would be phenomenal. But if you beat Bivol, that's ridiculous in a good way. But if you beat Benavidez, even Benavidez now at 40, who was able to handle Bivol like he did, and both of y'all gonna be walking each other now, oh my gosh. You want to talk about an absolute spectacle of legacy accolades that will, hey, at that point, people gonna start to question Canelo. Genuine. With scrutiny I don't think he's ever faced before. Even with him not facing Benavidez now. Oh gosh, that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. Trust me, that would be incredibly insane. But let's see what you all have to say on the show. I would like to see Benavidez have another fight before any of them two. Maybe versus Anthony Yarde, potentially. Now, with that being the case, understand, Anthony Yarde is early, but rumor has it that Anthony Yarde and Morrell is a fight that many fans want to see. And that behind the scenes, promoters want to make that happen. Both of them contenders, both of them incredibly highly rated. Both of them have faced off against some of the best in the division. Anthony Yarde had one of the fights of the year in his fight versus Artur Beterbiev. And then we just saw Morrell go and face off, get beat, but still faced off against the likes of Benavidez, who's one of the hottest stars in the sport right now, and the hottest in the division. That fight makes sense. Now, if Benavidez fought again, I would not be mad. I wouldn't. But would he risk it at this point? And this is a question that needs to be asked, because the issue with this fight, well, not issue, the ramifications of this fight, you win this, you're guaranteed to get a shot at undisputed. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And you've been officially made the mandatory right now. So this year is most likely the year you will get to fight for the title, because you earned the shot, full stop. And you've already been mandated. As it is already, it's not like what happened with the WBC at 168, when they just would not officially announce that he was the mandatory, even after saying it behind the scenes in press conferences. No, you won the fight, and the day after, you got named the official mandatory for the fight for the titles, and you are guaranteed a shot at the undisputed belt. Do you risk that now for fighting somebody else? Now, who could he fight in the division? I don't know. I truly don't know. I mean, if he fights a low-level competitor just to keep busy, I wouldn't be mad, but that goes against the grain of what Benavidez has been doing, which is facing tough competition at every single turn. It does. Do you want to risk that? Do you want to chance that? Do you want to have an opportunity to potentially go against your own mantra as a fighter? Because everything that Benavidez has been doing right now has been to get away from what he has seen the likes of Canelo do. So, it's like, do you take that risk? And I wouldn't. I would continue to train like a house on fire, but I wouldn't go and try to push the pace to get in the ring again, because at this point in time, unlike at 168, I'm guaranteed, I've already been given the keys to be able to fight the winner. Potential. And hey, but Bouncy, I believe I'm saying his name right. Bouncy versus Smith, face the winner of that could potentially be. Absolutely. There are options on the table. I'm not saying there aren't. The thing I'm saying is, for Benavidez right now, do you take that risk of fighting and potentially losing? Not because you're going away from your code, but because you have never this close to getting what you've been looking for, and you've earned the right to do it by beating a former champion, and at this point in time will look to be your biggest physical op to date, and you handle both of them in the same way. This time, I don't think I wouldn't fight. That's me. I wouldn't fight. I would get the winner, get guaranteed, sign the contract, boom, make it happen. No tune-ups, no nothing like that. I've had my 2 fights. I've been active. Now, let me do what I need to do. Again, that's me. That's my opinion. Let's see what you have to say on the matter. Benavidez would love to risk it, win or lose, just for trying like it's Ryan Garcia on everyone he fight. Yeah, it's like he'll take the risk. It's not about It's not about his mentality. His mentality. If I gotta be active, okay, give me the best that's available. I want a good fight. That's what he's been saying. That's what I want, a good fight. Absolutely. So he wants it. That's what he desires. Now, going against that would be not fighting and waiting for the winner and getting your shot guaranteed. But it would be smart, in my opinion, if he did it, because he's already done the work that's required. And he's done it against the best available. So it's like you earned the right now to sit and take your place as waiting to get the dotted line signed, because you're already guaranteed. But if he did risk it, most likely he'll do it. Most likely. I don't think it's smart, but he'll do it regardless, because that's who Benavidez is. That's why we love him. The brother, it don't matter. It don't matter. Mandatory or not, guaranteed or not, the risk is part of the sport. Hence, if I'm going to be as great as I think I can be, brother, I got to take every risk imaginable. And he's done that. And he's doing that right now. So I'm incredibly excited. But let's see. Smith is too strong. Def hurt Bivol when Benavidez couldn't. Let's see, hold on. Smith is too strong. Def hurt Bivol when Benavidez couldn't. You know what? Smith is incredibly strong. Absolutely. Benavidez did hurt him. He did hurt him. Remember, round 7, when Bivol was having that incredible flurry at the end of the round, and one counter put that man on the back foot. He got caught. He got rocked. He may not have been as egregious as somebody like a David Benavidez when he got rocked versus Morrell, or shaky legs running around the ring. But, or not shaky legs in terms of other fighters running around the ring. All of a sudden, like, I can't get myself together. But no, he got hurt. He did get hurt. His poker face is incredible. But brother, the way he fought changed drastically once he got caught with that counter hook by Benavidez off the ropes. In between that flurry. Oh, he stopped immediately. Oh, he got rocked. So it's like Benavidez is an all-time great puncher. That's just the nature of the beast. And so both of them could hurt him. Both of them did hurt him. And so I would shoot. It would be, again, an incredible risk for if Benavidez fought Smith, person who, again, also hurt Bivol. It's like, brother, this just adds to your greatness. But at the same time, it's a situation where, brother, we are looking at a man who you almost don't want, and I say this with trepidation. I don't say this because I'm trying to, again, be like, I want to protect my fighter. But with somebody who's done so much just to get the deserved opportunity, as a fan of his, who also wants to see the best fights available, it is tough for me to say, though it goes against the mentality of the fighter, hold back. Because I want to see you in the ring at every point possible. But with how you've been done dirty, as in with David Benavidez, by belt commissions and by other fighters, to be able to get your deserved shot at undisputed glory, which If he was undisputed, he would be one of the top faces of the sport because he's got incredible love, incredible admiration and adoration by the Mexican public. Oh gosh, they were back in the Kingdom Come. The American public loves him. The UK loves to see. Everybody loves to see this brother fight. Everybody loves to see this brother fight. He's got charisma. He's got that dog in him. He's got a style that makes everybody want to come in. And he's got the ability to beat every single one of the best in the world. He's got that ability. But he hasn't gotten the opportunity to get the crown fully placed on him because people have been keeping it away. Because of that, I just don't want him to not have that opportunity. And so I would love to see him fight a Smith. Just because it would be a great fight. I think he'd win, but it'd be a great fight. But because of how he's been done dirty, I don't want to see him get an opportunity potentially ripped away from him because of a loss in this situation when you've won so much against legitimate threats at every single turn and still you're being talked down on by other fans, whether it's Canelo's fans or others, as well as in your walk as a dominant threat. You are still being, in some situations, blackballed. Now with Turki Al-Sheikh, you are right there to get rewarded with what you aptly deserve because of what you've done and your continued pursuit for greatness. At this point in time, as a fan that wants to see the best fight, as well as his legitimate opportunity to take the reins of what he aptly deserves as one of the best faces of the sport on a global scale, I wouldn't want him to fight again until we get the result, until after February. And it would be for the undisputed title. That's the only time I want to see him fight for this year because of what is right at the doorstep for this brother. And so I wouldn't take it. And I would hope he wouldn't either. I wouldn't take a fight with Smith. I wouldn't take a fight with anybody. I'm guaranteed, I'm mandatory. Wait, let Benavidez and Bebo have their fight. He says he's going to be there on February 22nd. He's going to be there at the fight. And he's going to be probably getting in the ring once the fight ends for whoever. Tell Turki Al-Sheikh sign it. And when he signs, and when that goes, he'll make it happen. And when that does happen, my gosh, probably by May. Well, not May, excuse me. Probably by July in the summer, Bivol or Benavidez versus Benavidez for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Talk about a story. Talk about an incredible situation. Talk about a fight for the ages. Oh gosh, it'd be incredible. Because all that's at risk, I wouldn't want to fight again. That's just me. But let's see. You're so cool. Morrell didn't look like his technique was up. Morrell, well, appreciate the support. Again, Jay Urban, what's up with you? How you doing? Glad that you tuned in to the show on this afternoon. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot my drink. I almost forgot what's in my cup today, ladies and gentlemen. Is it Douce? Is it Hennessy? Or is it some good old-fashioned Maxwell coffee? Oh, yes, indeed, we're doing Maxwell's again. Absolutely. Maxwell's, the coffee of choice. I'm going to do Folgers next week. If anybody wants to sponsor me, hey, make it happen. Hey, Maxwell Coffee House. Hey, I'm an avid coffee drinker. I love it. I drink a cup a day, especially to start the morning. Especially on this show. So, hey, we need to keep you could be the brand of choice to keep the energy up. But if you don't do it, well, I'm going to Folgers next. And after that, I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts. And after that, we're going to go to different brands of drinks. We're going to go Minute Maid. We're going to go Simply Orange. We don't know. Somebody's going to give us, somebody's paying us someday. We're going to do the Russian roulette until somebody sticks. Oh boy. Oh man. But yeah, it wasn't that Morrell's technique, to answer your question. It wasn't that Morrell's technique was bad. Morrell, I talked about it in the breakdown. If he couldn't get it done in round 5, he would be broken up to where he couldn't utilize anything. Literally stuff about his game plan would be cut off in the second half of the fight. He was doing all the movement. He was doing all the slick stuff. Looking like the Morrell of old in round 1 and somewhat in round 2. But after that, once the body attack started working, once the aggression and the realization that no matter what slick footwork I do, I can't get away, as well as I can't hit him. Now, the only way that I can be successful, I got to I got to be flat-footed to some degree. And when you become flat-footed against David Benavidez, we said that was going to happen in the breakdown of the fight. They're going to be going head-to-head with each other. But the difference was the inside work. The inside fighting of David Benavidez. I talked about this. I told you all. I said this in the breakdown. The inside fighting of David Benavidez is going to be something that David Morrell is not able to outclass him in any way, shape, or form. In no manner of speaking at all. There was nothing that Morrell could do on the inside that could beat the speed, sharpness, and technique that Benavidez always shows when he gets on the inside to fight. Once it gets to close quarters, what can you do? Morrell, in all honesty, on the outside, Morrell at his best has a faster jab and can get off his punches quicker. Yes, he can. But once you get to that same range of now everything is close quarters, Benavidez has the same speed that he has on the outside as on the inside. That's what separates Morrell. That's not the case. Mid-range to long range and lunging in, that's his bread and butter. That's where he has the most success. That's where when he's able to fully extend and catch you at the end of his punches or in that mid-range area, his speed is incredibly deceptive and he's incredibly hard. But once you get on the inside, now Benavidez's speed is the same at every level. It doesn't dwindle based on range. It is as fast on the outside as on the inside. Hence why when he was able to rip the guard of Morrell and throw those hooks 3, 4, 5 times, it's because Morrell couldn't do anything because he couldn't react. He couldn't react. If he did let loose, he was going to get cracked. If he did let loose at that range, he was going to get caught. If he did let loose, he was going to get rocked. Because he was already getting hit with the uppercut. He was already getting hit with the uppercut. Understand? With the guard, without ripping the guard. He was already getting hit with the uppercut on the inside. He was already getting hit all around the guard in that liver kidney area on both sides of the body. Too quick to react. And he couldn't counter. He couldn't do it. He was able to counter once. He was off the ropes. He took the chance and it happened. But at that point, but that's because for Benavidez, at only one point in time is there an opportunity to really hurt that brother, and that's with the mega flurries on the ropes. And while that may be the biggest window, that's the biggest threat level possible. The risk for almost everybody is too great once Benavidez starts opening up with 4 or 5 punch combinations when you're backed up. Now, if you take the chance, you can catch him, like we saw with Morrell, but it's so great in terms of what he's able to do for Benavidez, and it's so dangerous for the opponent that nobody takes that risk. Nobody. And there's a reason why he only took that risk once, though it was successful. Because the second he tried it again, later on in the fight, didn't happen. Notice, the next time that Benavidez got Morrell to the ropes and really opened up with those 5, 6 punch combinations after getting rocked, Morrell wasn't able to land that counter again. For the rest of the fight, didn't land another flush shot like that for the rest of the fight. Off of a flurry. No, it didn't happen. He negated it. He shut that down. Shut it down entirely. You got one shot to get Benavidez and potentially make that brother back off. You got one. You got one shot to put that brother down. You got one finite opportunity to put that brother in dire straits. And if you don't, you're done. Because you ain't getting that chance again. Not because it won't be there for you, but because you will not be able to have that same mistake to capitalize, even in the same situation. Because of what Benavidez does as a smart fighter. He can still walk you down while still being just as defensively responsible. And even when he gets more aggressive, especially when he knows that there's a risk now that he can't get caught, he won't change his tune. He'll just change slightly where that tune is coming from. And then boom, you're back to where you were in the same situation, but Benavidez is now safer than he's ever been while still being just as destructive. That's literally it. That's literally it. Yeah. It's difficult to defend without stamina. And even with that, Benavidez got tired in this fight. Benavidez got tired in this fight. We forget to say that. He was still, just like with Gvozdyk, there was still some stamina issues that we saw Benavidez have with that high volume of offense that he continues to keep on having through the weight classes, which I'm so glad he's still keeping to what he is. But even still, even when he got tired, he was able to be the same Benavidez. Even with stamina issues, even when he's tired, he can still outdo what your stamina is because he wills himself to get above it. It's incredible. It's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. People claiming Morrell Cuban school IQ would be too much for Benavidez, and it's the problem with people buy, and we don't want to disrespect people on this show. People understand each sect of face of the planet has their own unique style. Russians had the Soviet style. Mexican style of boxing. Cuban style, slick defensive on the majority, counterpunchers like Rigondeaux and others. Ugas is a little bit different. He's more of a walk down, still defensive fighter, but he'll more so go to attack the body, but a little more aggressive. We get it. We've seen it with Luis Ortiz. We've seen it. We understand it. Frank Sanchez. All these fighters. It's a distinct type of style that has its own effects. Americans have their own style. We got multiple blends of the style. Either we're incredibly defensive and slick, or we're aggressive. With the Philly shell, or we're just outright coming to kill you. You got your Mike Tysons, you got your Tommy Hitman Hearns, and the Kronk Jim style. You got your Floyd Mayweather style. But all of it kind of revolves. There is an ethos with all of those styles that make up the American style. Every style of every continent, every country, every nation, every nationality, every ethnic group has their own significant stamp that makes them them. It's the truth. Klitschko brothers, prime situation. But it's the style isn't just what wins the fight. It can't just be, in some cases, yes, style does make fights. We understand it. But it's the situation where that's not the only thing that makes a fight the fight. It's not just somebody can struggle. It's the fact that somebody genuinely has the ability to beat you. Because not just with their style, but negating what you can do in yours or adapting to it. It's more than just because the phrase styles make fights doesn't do the fight game justice, in my estimation. It never has. It never has. Because it always windows things down to just the simplistic situation. And it's deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. George Foreman and Joe Frazier. Stylistically, Joe Frazier was made to fight against George Foreman. I get it. Absolutely. But people use that one pinpoint, that one fight, as the basis for why that applies to everything. And again, it does. Some styles are counters for others. But it's more than just that. It's deeper than that. It's the ability to be able to adapt. Even if your style is at a disadvantage, there is still a way that style can be effective. Can you utilize it against the opponent? How do you, as the fighter, become more than what your deficiencies are? How do you become bigger than what you can't do? That's what makes the styles makes fights. That's really what the essence of it is. Not just a style can counter the other, or you're made to build somebody. Even if the style is at a detriment for what another fighter can do to you, what are you to overcome your deficiencies? And in many situations, that's what makes the best fights. That's what makes the best outcomes. And so, I never bought into that the Cuban style was going to be something that would make David Benavidez struggle, make him do all that stuff, because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Because when you know somebody can take away from it, and even when you know that somebody, if you're not as slick, how do you take away slickness? Okay, you attack the body. How do you attack the body against a Cuban fighter? You stalk, you're patient, and you continue. When they try to exit, you punch where they're going, but you punch down low. Even if it means that you punch and you're hitting their arms, like Rocky Marciano used to do. You go and you make your way to be able to consistently break them down by touching whatever you can. And eventually, all that footwork that they got to do to get away from your pressure, just like we've seen with other fighters in the past, just like we saw with Tyson Fury, it will get lax. And when it gets lax, when it calms down, when he becomes more flat-footed, when he's not able to move like he wants to, when he can't get and utilize half of his game plan at the same rate, now what is he left with? Now he's at the same vantage point as you. What can he do? What can you do to capitalize? Those are what really makes the fights happen. Styles makes fights is essentially saying both of these styles are either going to make for a fight that's boring or a fight that's incredible in terms of what we know about them two. That's not everything that just makes the fight. It's an aspect, don't get me wrong, but it ain't everything. That's why I never bought into the fact that Benavidez could just stonewall and walk through everything anybody wants to say. Absolutely. At least for me. At least for me. Again, you can disagree. Understand it. But that's just my opinion. Oh no, but let's see what people have to say. Franklin, what's up with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Glad that you're here on The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much. Glad that you're Jean-Luc Welch is back with the best podcast. Hey, look, I appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all are just enjoying the ride. I'm so happy that y'all are here just to go and you all make this show great. I'm just here to provide you the best case scenario, the best situation possible, to give you the best action available. Everybody deserves to have a quality show. We're here to make it the best that we can be. So I appreciate you tuning in, but let's see what other people had to say. Morrell didn't show me much against Rajov, we call him Hot Rod on this show because I can't get the name right for the life of me. So I figured Benavidez would not have a problem with beating him. And again, I completely understand. It is completely justifiable that's the situation. That's why I said Morrell could hurt him. Morrell can't beat him. Because of what we saw with the deficiencies against a vastly and I say this with all due respect, a vastly inferior opponent in his first fight at 175 with no evolution in his style to compensate for what was coming down the pipe when it came to more power, more durability, more reach, and a bigger threat level. Nothing changed. And even with the fighter that he was, the same production wasn't the same. It wasn't. He was knocking everybody out. What? 11, he was 11-0, 9 KOs. Had an 8-fight knockout streak before the hand. Had one of the best knockouts of last year. Before this fight, or before the fight with Hot Rod, looked like a monster. But when you can't get the person out of there, what can you do to still be successful? Can you still put on the same level of domination without having the same level of power or effectiveness at your disposal? You can still be dominant when one aspect of your game is taken away. How do you do that? And can you do that? Is really what makes a fighter great or not. That's what we saw Benavidez do. It's not what we saw Morrell did. Not what we saw Morrell did at all. Now, Morrell just started fighting professionally at 27, so he's got some time to level up. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. We want to see him succeed. He's still young. He's still got a bright future. This loss doesn't change that we want to see him fight. This loss just shows how great Benavidez is. Now, he also had a very, very, very extensive amateur background. So he's 27, so he's young in the pro ranks. But as most Cuban fighters do, he has been on a tear on the framework of boxing as a whole. Because he's been boxing for years in the amateur ranks, which is where you fine-tune your ability. Which is why the pros has been so successful. But now, he's young in the pros. There's some tricks of the trade he still has not understood. And that he got learned by Dave Benavidez. Now that hopefully takes those lessons and turns into a better fighter. turns to a more vicious killer, turns to somebody that we can see a rematch at 175, potentially for a title against maybe Benavidez or whoever else may be champion. And we can see the best of him now come to fruition. Maybe he avenges his loss. Who knows? Regardless of which, it's an exciting event, and I'm excited to see it. No question in my mind. And hey, what's up with the Fight Buzz TV? How you doing? Good to see you. Glad that you're here on the Watchable. We have been having a time on this show talking about boxing. We still got to cover for my NBA fans out there. The LUKA Doncic trade. We are not going to get away from that, absolutely. And trust me, and let's see, Jake Paul versus, oh gosh, see, doggone it. I thought this was a fluke when people put this in the chat. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Oh my gosh. Do y'all really want to talk about this? Do y'all really want to talk about this? Because tell me that you all don't want to talk about this again. And we brought it up, sadly. Let's discuss it right now. And the other ramifications of Canelo. Look, Rusty Cage, we got people saying no. We got some people saying yes. I'll do the best of both worlds. Understand? I'll do the best of both worlds. See, for sure. Nope. See, people. I told y'all we're tired of Jake Paul. We're tired of it. Absolutely. But hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a second. This is a great segue. I'm not going to touch on the fight. I'm going to touch on Canelo. Canelo, yes, was reported that he's going to fight Jake Paul. Now, from what I hear, that fight's not going to happen. That's just humdrum in the air. Great. But with that being said, there has now been an official confirmation that with Canelo and Terence Crawford, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It is official. It is official. It is official. It is happening. It is going down. I believe what it is. Is it Arlington Stadium? Out west in Las Vegas. It is official. We are going to have Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford at 168 for the undisputed super middleweight title this year in the summer. It's happening. It is official. It is no longer speculation. We have been saying if and when. We have been saying potentially. No, it's happening. They have finalized the deal. It is going down. They are going to fight in Arlington Stadium over in I believe his name is Arlington Stadium, something stadium, over in Las Vegas. It is official. It's going down. We're getting that fight. Canelo versus Terence Crawford. It is a done deal. It's officially happened. Now that that's the case, this brings up a great question or a great synopsis that we need to talk about. One of the biggest things about Turki Al-Sheikh, we'll touch on the fight, absolutely. But one of the biggest things about Turki Al-Sheikh and the whole landscape of boxing that's been shifting and changing in the world of sports today is the fact that we see that people are scared that boxing is going to go from its known meccas. In the basketball world, you got Rucker Park, you got Venice Beach, you got places out in California, North Carolina, also places that are rocks in the basketball community that people were scared that the culture was going to die off because no longer would the sport be a mecca in those specific parks. And when Mixtape Tour came around, for those of you who are basketball fans, you know N1 Mixtape Tour back in the early 2000s. Was a mecca for basketball. One of the most popular times for basketball as a whole. When that got taken away, basketball going to be the same. It's still shining. Those meccas are still available. KD will go to Rucker Park. Kobe will go to Rucker Park. We got people, dang it, what's the thing? Jamal Crawford got his own runs that he has down, I can't think of the location, but they got open gym runs there now, become new meccas for the modern day for basketball to come through. Open runs like with the lockout season where everybody was going to different parks around the globe. The culture is still alive and still thriving. Dykeman, that's the one I was thinking of. LeBron, when he played at Dykeman, he put up like 35 in an open run that had the gym packed. It was incredible. Now that we see that's the case, the boxing world was scared that with all these fights happening in Saudi Arabia and out in other trying to get my words together, out in other locations, that it would get taken away from America. We get taken away from Britain. And the boxing world would not be able to see the best fights at their best locations. Now, no longer can we say that. And like I've been saying, your fears don't need to be fears. The boxing world, Turkey Al-Sheikh is establishing a world for boxing in Saudi Arabia, getting the palette acquired for everybody. Then, when the big fights now come down the pipe that are truly spectacular, like we've been saying, they will fight and happen where they're at best to happen. Dubois versus AJ happened in the UK. Canelo versus Crawford is happening in Las Vegas. We're getting all these fights happening at their best, essentially zenith type of event, because the sport is the best sport when it's placed not just with the fights at their best, but also with the location where the fans are most rabid. It's like with wrestling. We look at wrestling. Wrestling isn't just about the matches that happen. It's the atmosphere that the fans bring that makes the fights incredible. Makes the wrestling incredible. Makes the matches unforgettable. The atmosphere that was surrounding them. The fans at the location. On scene. On site. To give their all to support their favorite star. That's what helps make an event unforgettable. Rumble in the Jungle. The Thriller in Manila. The greatest fight ever as it was billed when it came to Ali versus Frazier. The fight of the century. The rematch. All of this. The environment makes the fight unforgettable. Turkey understands that. The fans understand it. And we're seeing, just like I said, there's no need to worry. We're getting the fights where they should be. Canelo versus Crawford in Las Vegas is exactly where it should be. Selling out stadiums. No, God, it's going to be incredible. And I can't wait to see it. But let's see what you have to say on the matter. Now, Crawford has to move up, so he will be at a deficit fighting at the new weight. Potentially, though, doesn't put him at a disadvantage, to fight at the new weight. Will he fight at 2-0? You got a lot of questions, and all these are good questions. Let's break down. Does it put him at an advantage for the new weight? It does. The new weight indeed puts him at a disadvantage, of course. Coming from 154 to 168, originally coming when he came into the boxing scene at 135. Now moving up to 168, this drastically. Yes, this puts him at a disadvantage, especially with him now. There's no rehydration clause in this fight also. So it was, again, incredible that he took this risk. And also, Roy Rumble was a dude, a dud? It was a dud? Wait a minute. Hold on. See, we'll get into it later. No, I disagree. You may not like who won in Jey Uso, but it wasn't a dud. I'll say that. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that, at least for me. We'll get into that later. No, but I don't believe it was a dud. But we'll get into that later on in the show, in the championship rounds, which is getting ready to come up right after this segment and right after I cover the LUKA Doncic trade, because we got to cover. I can't overlook that now. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Royal Rumble. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. But again, when we look at the fight of Canelo versus Crawford, with that fight, he is at a disadvantage. He's also there's no rehydration clause, unlike with Tank. So Canelo can potentially get up to 180 on the night of the fight, if he so chooses. And it's going to be, hey, you got to step in the ring. So here's a big disadvantage. Skill on skill, they are some of the best in the world. It is hard to say that one is drastically better than the other. I think that Crawford is a better skillful boxer. But Canelo's right there with them, because you don't get from 154 to 175 and beating Kovalev and challenging Bivol just by being strong. You don't. So no, it is going to be an incredible sight to see. But Crawford is at a disadvantage. It's going to put him at risk. Now, when it comes to the tune-up fight, excuse me, I would have wanted to see him fight in a tune-up at 168, even at a 160, just to get acclimated to the higher weight. We've talked about this in the past, where you can't just put on muscle and all of a sudden you're the same. Usyk had to grow into the division. You had Roy Jones Jr. had to grow into the division, even though he was an anomaly. He didn't grow as quickly, but he still grew. He grew quickly into the divisions. Immediately was the best in the division. But he still was smart about it up until he just said, forget it, I'm going after everything all at once, and moved all the way up to heavyweight immediately. From 160 to 168 to 175, and then boom, heavyweight. Then moved back down to 168. That was preposterous. That's when he just all gas, no brakes at that point when he moved back down. Oh, that was stupid. And he still won. Oh, that was ridiculous. That was insane. Insane in the most in the most egregious sense. But he did it because he was right. But in a way, for modern day, in a way, it's about who moved up and fought. And even now at 122, people wanted to fight Nick Ball at 126. People wanted to fight Tank at 135. Even at 130, though Tank ain't never coming back down to 130. Regardless of which, in a way, even with his drastic rise to stardom, becoming undisputed within 1 year, becoming two-time undisputed, the second male to do it outside of Terrence Crawford and Usyk, excuse me, and only the it's only the fourth person to do it in history in the likes of Clarissa Shields, at least in the four-belt era. This is, even with him, one of the best, in my opinion, the best boxer in the world today, though he's not pound for pound number one. That's Usyk. But the best talented boxer in the world today, that brother still is taking his time and being smart. Crawford is doing something that, if he does achieve this, would put him as probably one of the best in history. In that all-time great to potentially GOAT level competition. Because here's what you have to understand. And I'll say who's going to win later. I'll say it later. After this. The reason why I'm hyping up that this is going to be such an incredible thing is, and yes, you are right. The tune-up of Canelo may happen in May because he always fights on Cinco de Mayo. The fight itself is in September. It is. Understand, the fight in Arlington is built to be in September, around my birthday. It could happen. That's great. Even with that being said, the reason why this is so incredible is if Crawford, without a tune-up, goes immediately from 154 to 168 after fighting at 135 to start his career, and he beats Canelo. Y'all have heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. That would be the equivalent of if Roy Jones Jr. went and instead of fighting John Ruiz after coming up from 168 and 175 to heavyweight, instead of fighting John Ruiz for the title, who John Ruiz was good. Let's not get that twisted. John Ruiz was good and became a champion again afterwards, after he lost to Roy Jones. So he was good. But it would be like if instead of it being John Ruiz that we saw Roy go and fight, it was Lennox Lewis in his prime as heavyweight champion that he went and fought and beat. We will be calling him, and I would be calling him, the greatest boxer in history if he went and achieved that feat. That one feat alone would put him above the likes of Sugar Ray Robinson. And I have Sugar Ray Robinson as the greatest boxer of all time. The pound for pound greatest in history. Pound for pound number one in the history of the sport. My GOAT is Sugar Ray Robinson. If Roy did that, he's getting bumped up above him. No question in my mind. That would have put him over the top. He could have lost going down to anybody. It would not matter. He went and did that at his best. Oh, there's nobody's beat. No, not a soul. If he went and beat, let alone knocked out the likes of Lennox Lewis at that point in time, coming up from where he came up, preposterous. So this is what we're looking at right now. We have never seen somebody move up this drastically and beat the best at the division. We haven't. And in their prime, we haven't seen that before. Moving up multiple weight classes immediately. Not moving up, fighting, moving up, fighting, moving up, and fighting. You fight and then you move up immediately. And you beat Canelo, who's at his prime, who right now is the reigning, defending, undisputed king of the heavyweight division. There is nobody, or excuse me, king of the super middleweight division. And there is nobody that we see that can beat him at the division right now. And you beat him, let alone you knock him out. Oh, we're putting him in conversations of probably, we're putting him in conversations of again, not just tops all time, but you're transcending into the GOAT conversation. You are one of the greatest we've ever seen in history. If he does achieve this, it's be ridiculous in a framework that we've never seen in boxing history, or we haven't seen in about 80 or 90 years since black and white boxing was on display. This would be like some Henry Armstrong type of stuff. It'll be stupid. It will be stupid if he does this. Hence why this is so tantalizing. And I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to see it. Absolutely. No question in my mind. But also, now, we still got to talk about the world of the NBA. Like with, as Irving brought it up, LUKA trade to LA in a shocking development that has shook up the world by storm. It has been one of the most trending topics in sports history. And if you didn't know, Luka Doncic has been traded by the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis in an absolute mind-boggling type of trade that has everybody scratching their heads and saying, how in the world did we get here? Now, the full trade details of this are, in fact, incredible and are in fact detailed, and just still reading it even right now makes me question how we got here. Again, Lakers are getting Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. Mavericks are getting Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and LA's first round pick. And the Jazz are getting Jalen Hood-Schifino, 2025 Clippers second round, and 2025 Mavericks second round. So essentially, Hood-Schifino is out. Thank the Lord. My gosh. Thank goodness. Everybody, thank goodness. He's gone from the Lakers organization. Wasn't adding nothing. Wasn't doing nothing. Finally got him out of there. But, hey, you give up a top 10 star for a top 5 star, which everybody's looking, how in the world did this even happen? And apparently, to tell the story of the whole thing, LeBron didn't know. AD didn't know. LUKA didn't know. And nobody, not even Danny Ainge, who is GM of the Jazz, knew about this trade, and he was involved in the trade. This was one of the most undercover psyop situations we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. This is most likely going to go down as one of the most incredible trades, and arguably the most incredible trade that we've seen in basketball history. One of the biggest moves we've seen in the history of sports as a whole. I couldn't believe it. I was at a restaurant. I was watching the David Benavidez fight. The second the fight ended, I get a notification 4 minutes ago from Shams that LUKA got traded. I essentially was the man breaking. I had my own Woj moment. Because I was breaking the news to everybody in the restaurant, telling people LUKA got traded. Nobody believed me. Everybody, and all of a sudden, as the murmurs start going, everybody started screaming and hollering. We couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Everybody was up in arms. What does this mean for both organizations? Number one, before we even touch on what it means, we got to talk about Dallas. How stupid can you be? How ridiculous. Nico Harrison, you idiotic fool. How in the world do you let a foundational cornerstone of your franchise walk for a 1-to-1 trade? LUKA is definitively top 5 best players in the world. He just took the Mavericks to the finals. He averaged 35 and led the league in scoring last year. Has been one of the most polarizing figures and one of the most dynamic, shifting entities that this sport has to offer in the NBA. Single-handedly by himself was again, with Kyrie Irving, completely understandable. And the Mavericks organization as a whole is great. But as a piece, he was the only reason that a Dallas squad that, in my opinion, had no business getting to the finals, got to the finals, is because of Luka Doncic. There's no way in the world. No way in the world. It has been a legitimate situation that shocks the boxing mind, or the basketball mind, excuse me, that we're witnessing this type of ineptitude from an organization you had a decade plus at your feet. And you just came off of finals, and Nico Harrison, you trade LUKA for a 1-to-1 equivalent? And by 1-to-1, I mean superstar for superstar. That is so stupid. And on top of that, the reason why Nico Harrison traded Luka Doncic was because that he did not like Luka. That was literally it. He said that he was fat. He said that he had no work ethic. He had a problem with him getting his own nutritional team. And all signs point to that Nico Harris was done with the Luka experiment as a whole. He was just done. And he was tired of Luka. In fact, for those of you who didn't know, this is going to tell you how dumb this is. This is going to tell you how dumb this is. We saw when everybody was saying that Rob Pelinka wasn't making any moves for the Lakers. When they talked behind the scenes, they had been talking since January. And it was to a point where Luka and his value was talked down by Rob Pelinka. The weight, the work ethic, the personal trainers, Rob Pelinka talked down the value of Luka to Nico Harris, the Mavs GM, to the point that he talked him down to only a first-round pick in Anthony Davis. It was so, brother, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let's get it straight right now. Let's talk about what it means for these two teams. We've talked about the insanity. Let's talk about what it means for these two teams. And we got a lot of people coming into your chat. Also, leave a like if you would on the stream if you haven't already, to go on and get everybody involved with what's going on. If you haven't liked the stream, because brother, we still got a ways to go and we still got a lot of show to do, and we want everybody to be as involved as possible when it comes to this phenomenal show and this phenomenal community. So if you would, it would mean the world to me if you don't mind. But regardless of which, we still got to break down this whole situation. The Mavericks with AD. AD is still a top 10 player. AD is still, in my opinion, the best defensive big man in the NBA today. No question. And arguably top 3. Even above Joel Embiid, because he's been more healthy and he's been as defensive as anybody else could ask for, and has been averaging 24, 26 points a game, and has put up multiple 42 and 22, 40 and 20, and multiple blocks. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. He's been playing like the AD that we want him to play. He's been doing that for 2 years. He has. The issue is now, with Kyrie and AD, that is not a squad, even with as constructed as right now, which still they have just about everybody. That is not a squad that can be a championship organization. It's not. Do you know why? Because even with Klay Thompson, even with Gafford, even with Lively, even with Kyrie Irving, and with now AD, the issue is the Mavs don't have a playmaker that can make everybody viable. With PJ Washington, with formerly Kleber, and everybody else they have on that roster, it is a good constructed lineup, but they don't have a facilitator to maximize everybody's ability. PJ Washington came from Charlotte over to Dallas. His impact was so immediate, not just because of his ability, but because he had somebody that could bring that ability out and make it actually a viable threat due to the gravity that he brought on the perimeter and the playmaking that he brought with Luka Doncic. Kyrie Irving has been shown that he can lead the show even without Luka. He's established. He's experienced. He is Kyrie Irving, one of the most offensively dominant figures that we have in the sport today. One of the most skilled athletes that we've seen in basketball history. There is no question about that. But when it comes to a playmaking aspect of it, there is still something that he couldn't do. He couldn't make everybody nearly as big of a threat. Lively was not, the way we look at Lively now is nowhere close to what Lively actually is, but it's because of Luka. Daniel Gafford as an offensive lob threat is nowhere close to what he would be if it wasn't for Kyrie, or what it wasn't for Luka. Even with Kyrie Irving on the floor. Kyrie Irving is a phenomenal player. And him and AD, that pick and roll is going to be incredible. That offense up high and down low is going to be phenomenal. But when it comes to the playoffs, and when it comes to this team's ability, not just to be defensively responsible, which they are now better with AD playing, he's going to play power forward. Oh, let's get that straight right now. AD is going to play power forward like he's been wanting to play for the past 3 years. He's going to play power forward. Gafford's going to play center. And now he's got a backup in Lively. The lineup for AD looks incredible. It's exactly what he wanted. But the reason why even when he had DeMarcus Cousins, when he was in New Orleans, a healthy DeMarcus Cousins, a prime DeMarcus Cousins, and they were able to only go so far in the playoffs, even with the likes of Rajon Rondo. They didn't have, at that point in time, they had a facilitator, but they didn't have the best pieces to fully maximize what the offense could be. On the Lakers, when they won the title, they were able to be successful. And on top of that, had a playmaker that could get the best out of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, out of Danny Green, and make it so that, yeah, you can't leave anybody, not just up on the perimeter, but also in the paint. Stretching the defense as far as possible, because now you have LeBron who could find anybody on the floor, and AD who could anchor the defense and be the biggest threat that you had to double team. Now, without LUKA, as great as Kyrie is, that threat is not the same. Kyrie is a phenomenal player. LUKA's top 5. Kyrie is nowhere close to that. He's not. The gravity that he brings to the table is the biggest reason why Kyrie was able to beat the Kyrie that we see now. And that whole squad was able to beat what they are. Because of the gravity that LUKA had at his own by himself. It got, and you can say, oh, the LUKA being PG can't work. It's not winning basketball. They just got to the finals. They were the ones that beat OKC with LUKA. They were the ones that stopped the Suns with LUKA. It was not a situation. Every series that we've seen them get a win or upset or even be competitive, it's been because LUKA went on a tear. It's been because without LUKA, this team is nowhere close to what they have been shown that they can be. It's just a fact of the matter. Now, if Kyrie and AD work, great. I don't want to see it fail. I want to see it succeed. Absolutely. But do I think it's going to work? I just don't know. I really don't. And more than the immediate, more than just the immediate situation. And again, oh gosh, we got comments galore. Let me see. For sure, you hot boy. For sure, it's hot. Everybody's hot. Everybody's up and on. They talk about, yeah, they moved in silence. Nobody knew. I stopped watching the NBA years. You really, well, brother, you are missing out. Rusty Cage, I would advise you to get back in because we are seeing a new era. You got Anthony Edwards. You got Trae Young. You got Luka Doncic. You have Victor Wembanyama. You have so many great stars, and still the greats of old, Steph, KD, and LeBron are still running roughshod over the league. This has not been as much. There's arguably more talent we've ever seen in NBA as a whole for every single squad. LaMelo's putting up 30. You still got KD and Devin Booker playing together phenomenally. Well, not phenomenally, but in terms of star power, you got them. It's been great. I would hope that you would come back because genuinely, it is something that is to behold in terms of right now. And no, I'm not from Dallas. No, again, I ain't from Dallas. I'm down south in North Carolina. But I ain't from Dallas. No. I just know the ramifications of this and going on. And yeah, Nico and Pelinka, it's more so, Nico need to be investigated. But he sabotaged his own organization. I think that's what we fail to see. And I'm dead serious. I'm so serious. I am so serious. And here's the thing. Oh, we got people commenting left, right, and center. No, I don't think he's going to get traded. Because I think they're going to stick with him. They had no issue with Kyrie Irving. They had an issue with LUKA was the only problem that Nico had on the entirety of this whole set. He's been stated. He's been on record saying. He's been caught saying. People around the organization have been saying. He hated LUKA. Nobody else. He loved Kyrie. Hated LUKA. Hated him with a passion. But wanted him out. Wanted him gone. And only him. So they want AD and Kyrie to be the duo to bring them a finals championship. That's what he wants. Is it going to work? I don't think so. Can it work? Absolutely. Will it work? I don't think so. And I think they shot themselves in the foot. So I don't think he's going to be traded. I think he's going to stay. And again, pick up with AD is going to be good until spring start. Potentially injuries could be a very detrimental factor. And even then, even if they are working as effectively, to get them involved with everybody else, that could be the biggest struggle. Because as much of a great player as Kyrie is, as a playmaker, the passing ability of the Mavericks when LUKA was there is what made them so dangerous for the rest of the league. Without LUKA's playmaking, even though they still have dominant scoring, how effective is that when you don't when there isn't the same ability to share the ball with everybody and make everybody a viable threat by being able to find them consistently in the smallest holes in the defense. That's what LUKA was able to do. Now with Kyrie, he can do it, but it's not to nearly that same level of degree. And I don't know if that's going to be a winning formula, especially with how Kyrie was flopping in the finals in this against the Celtics. And potentially against Cleveland, if he faces off against them now, with how both those teams have been looking, he's got to be able to play make against that while still being a dominant scorer. And even just as a scorer, Kyrie wasn't great in the finals. He wasn't. And so we're looking in the last finals, not the one that he wanted or the other finals that he's been in. In this specific last finals that Dallas was in, Kyrie was not playing up to the standard that we normally see. He wasn't at all. The Celtics team was just great, but also he himself, hey, it draws some concern for what this future is supposed to be. It does. We have to ask this question. Fairly, we have to ask this question. Not to hate, not to bring somebody down, but with a legitimate concern, we have to bring it up with the proper context. That's what we're doing. Kyrie and AD can be great, but I don't think they're going to be greater than what we saw with LUKA and Kyrie because of what LUKA brings to the table. I'm just, oh boy, I'm scared. I'm really scared. And both teams are worse than they were pre-trade, but Dallas is way more screwed up. The Lakers, how do we say this? In the immediate, the Mavericks are better than the Lakers. They're already on the whole of their squad. It's better built. It is. It completely is. Absolutely. But for the long term, they've shot themselves in the foot. They traded away a 25-year-old MVP candidate, a 25-year-old top 5 player for a 32-year-old potentially injury-prone player in Anthony Davis, who is still a top 10 player in the NBA. Let's not devalue what he is. But let's also put it in the context of you could build around LUKA for decades and be dominant. The brother has not even reached 28 years old when everybody's physical prime fully takes hold. He hasn't even reached that, and he's still been this unstoppable to everybody. Everybody has drugged this team on a consistent basis to wins, has been the driving force for the squad for years to come, didn't want to leave, loved the city, fans loved him, and you had a cornerstone for the rest of your time in Dallas. And you let him go. You shot yourself in the foot for history. For the history of your organization. It will never be the same. You will never find a diamond in the rough like that potentially ever again. And you had the grace to be able to find that twice in back-to-back drafts for your cornerstone. You got it with Dirk, and you had it with LUKA. And they both played it with each other when you drafted LUKA. It was like a passing of the torch that was perfect. And you didn't go and fall by the wayside, and you let the opportunity slip through your fingers. I could not believe it. And the weight being an excuse is absolutely stupid. Zion Williamson is 290 at 6'6", and that brother's still on the Pelicans. That puts me more injury prone than anybody else in the NBA right now, outside of Joel Embiid, and yet still he is with the Pelicans. They haven't moved that off that brother yet. I don't understand. At 270, he was averaging 35. Actually, at one point in time, he was averaging 37. He put up 70 points at 270. He was in the finals averaging at 270. Out of shape. This brother's top 5. What the world do you mean that's a problem for you? He's paying for nutritionists out of his own pocket. And you got a problem with that. And then he's at 270, and he seems to be, as the time goes on, he still played 70 games last year, just as much as Anthony Davis. And we would say Anthony Davis was playing healthy with 70 games under his belt. And you mean to tell me that all of that is an excuse? When we've seen actual out-of-shape stars, legit, like James Harden, like Zion, and they're able to still be on the floor. I can't believe that this stupid mess is happening in the world of it boggles my mind to know when I am so fed up with what they did to the Dallas fan base and what they robbed LUKA. They threw, and he tried to say that Nico Harrison tried to say that Jason Kidd and him made this decision together. You got to be out your doggone mind. You stupid, ignorant fool. You utter disgrace of an owner. Yeah, I'm going that route. Oh, yes, indeed. Are we going there? You got to be kidding. You can't be. The amount of... You ignorant, utterly ridiculous, you laughable disgrace for what it means to be an NBA GM. You incredible fool. You stained your reputation and you spit in the face of every Dallas Maverick fan and LUKA and the coach, Jason Kidd, and everybody in that organization by being so stupid, by being so blinded by hatred, and by being so ignorant as an owner since you took over for Mark Cuban. You disgust me. You disgust me. You disgust me as an owner. You disgust me as a basketball man. You disgust me, dare I say, as just an entity in and of itself. You can't be that stupid. You cannot be that stupid and just so filled with my way or the highway that you let the bigger picture literally be in the back of your mind. Oh, we'll see what everybody's saying when I'm right. We'll see if I'm right or not. Talking like a pompous, ignorant fool. I'm just in shock. I'm legitimately in shock. We've never seen this before. We've never seen this before. We have never seen this before. We've never seen this before. In terms of a trade, we've never seen this before. We've seen free agency in incredible situations. We've seen phenomenal types of signings. We've never seen a trade of this magnitude. Every single one that was of this magnitude got vetoed by David Stern. And now this. Let's be perfectly frank. Mavericks are better in the immediate. Or not better. They are less bad than the Lakers in the immediate, but their future is shot to kingdom come. But when it comes to the Lakers just made their case for a decade plus. We are now back to Lakers showtime. We got a foundation. But beyond LeBron, we got Larry Bird. That's literally, and right now, Larry Bird, this is the equivalent of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson playing together. Let's be frank. This is like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson playing with each other. In this case, it will be an old Magic Johnson and a young Larry Bird. That's what this equivalent is. This is stupid. But like for basketball sense, this is going to be one of the most beautiful things we ever see. Pick and roll is going to be incredible. The playmaking is going to be incredible. The only thing, yes, the Lakers are worse than the Mavericks at this point in time. But that can all change by Thursday. Because if the Lakers get a legitimate big man, if the Lakers can get a Miles Turner, they still got a first-round draft pick that they can spend. They have assets like Reeves and Hachimura that at this point in time, you can sacrifice one of them and you can still get the likes of a legitimately good player, dare I say potentially a star, without the market's been reset for what a star now demands. Shoot, boy. But within the span of by Thursday, this team could legitimately be fully equipped to be a championship contender. They are still one move away, but this one move puts them well and further beyond what they initially were if they made the move now. They need a big man. Oh, yes, they do. They are deprived of size, but if they can get it and they got the pieces and the leeway to get it, they can do it. They can do it this year. They can do it in 2 days. And we're talking about one of the most feared situations. And for the long term, LeBron's talking about he may resign for longer than just 2 years. With what they got right now, this has been a dream of LeBron's. He can play off ball fully with a competent, in their prime, incredible playmaker that can also put up 30 in his own right. And he put up 33 against the Knicks without Anthony Davis. So no, This is exactly what LeBron's been looking for. The last of his athleticism can fully be played off ball. He's been playing some of the best off ball he's been playing this year. Been shooting some of the best 3-pointers that as a percentage shooter as he's been shooting in his entire career. Mind you, last season he beat out Steph at the end of the year shooting 40% for 3. Now you get LUKA. You can trade Reeves and you can get a legitimate big time big man that can further spread the floor. You still got Hachimura. You can trade Hachimura, potentially. And now, boom, get a big man and a wing. On top of that, if you want to. You still got Dalton Connect. You still got Reeves. You still got LUKA. You know you got LeBron. Potentially you got Maxi Kleber. Potentially not Maxi Kleber. Walker Kessler, Laurie Marketing, Miles Turner. Even if they go that route of straight up free agency. There's a center that used to play for them that played for the Rams in the G League and got some run in the preseason. Was averaging like 4 to 6 blocks a game. 7'3", athletic as all get out. Could run up and down the floor. If you need just a physical specimen that can rebound and block shots, that's your guy. And he's still, I believe, available. That's it. You can do that. Shoot. Tough time to have for everybody in the league. It's gonna be an interesting story. That just overshadowed the fact Zach LaVine got traded to the Kings. And De'Aaron Fox is playing with Wembanyama in San Antonio. This trade is so big that a big trade looks small. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. Lakers are set up for the next decade. And they could potentially still be in content for a title run this season. Let alone next season, they sign people in free agency. By the way, they can still sign people to a full max contract. Remember that. LUKA is ineligible for a supermax. Lost $171 million. Remember that. He's not eligible for a supermax deal. The Lakers have now one spot left for a full supermax contract. As in, if LeBron takes a pay cut and they pay LUKA the max that they can pay, not a supermax, but a max that he is eligible for, they still have enough money to get another big-time star in free agency for another supermax deal or another max contract. They are set up with still draft picks that they can use to trade. They're set up to potentially be back to showtime in as quickly as 3 days and as long as 1 year. With LeBron being there for potentially longer than 2 or 3 years. Which we thought potentially he's going to retire at the end of this season or next season. Now, that brother could stay for longer. Because he's still playing like he can play for longer. Injuries aside, if nothing goes wrong, brother, the Mavericks just gave the Lakers the key to a new era of kingdom. They gave them when they were about to be back to mediocrity, looking like all hope was lost for what their future could be. All of a sudden, you just made their future so bright, and still their immediate situation can still bring a championship within the next 2 years. It is so possible that it's laughable. It's laughable. It's laughable. But it's ridiculous. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a Twilight Zone type of situation that blindsided everybody. Again, AD didn't want to leave. LeBron didn't get talked about. LUKA didn't want to go. None of the coaches knew. Every team is hot that the Mavericks only talk to the Lakers and nobody else. There is a situation where the landscape of basketball has genuinely shifted on a scale that we ain't seen since KD going to the Warriors, and hypothetically on a grander scale that could take ripple effects that we still don't know what will come down the pipe as a result of this. I'm legitimately at a loss for words, and my job is to talk. I'm at a loss for words. If any other team got LUKA for what the Lakers got, Adam Silver would have vetoed it. I like the fact that it's the fact that it happened so quickly and so under the nose. It's oh gosh. I genuinely can't believe it. this is not disrespecting Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is a star that's in his prime, but will quickly be at the end of his prime. LUKA is not even in his prime yet. And he was at this level, and I can't even, oh gosh. It's not even, the fleecing doesn't even come from you gave up a bad player for a great player. You gave up a great player. You did. Just for a top 5 player. And it's like, in terms of the realms of talent, it's a stretch, but they at least fit the mold. It's just the fact that we thought, even more than the trade happening with the Lakers of all people, it's the fact that we thought that there were a couple untouchables in the NBA. You had Giannis, you had LUKA, you had Victor Wembanyama, you had at one point in time Joel Embiid, but even then that's out the question. And then you had Nikola Jokic, LeBron, and that's it. That's it. Now, there is nobody safe. KD ain't safe, though he's been traded before. Booker ain't safe. Giannis ain't safe. Steph ain't safe. You understand that? Steph isn't safe. I dare say even Nikola Jokic isn't safe at this point. And that's the best player in basketball. Bar none. That's the best player in basketball, and he isn't safe. There is not an untouchable player in the NBA no more. We thought Anthony Davis was untouchable, unless he was for, again, a Nikola Jokic. Now, he's not untouchable. Bron ain't untouchable. There is nobody in the NBA that's untouchable. There is no core piece. Jason Tatum ain't untouchable now. Jaylen Brown ain't untouchable at this point. Jimmy Butler, at this point, we would think that brother would get traded, and with everybody that's been going around, with everything that's been going around, that brother ain't been touched by nobody. Oh my gosh. You got to feel for that brother. Nobody's taking Jimmy Butler. In fact, Jimmy Butler reportedly has been shutting down trades to contending teams. So he's almost shooting himself in the foot, arguably, in some situations. Shoot, man. Shoot. My gosh. Genuinely, when I tell you that this truly is a shock to my system that has me genuinely questioning how in the world that this is possible, that this transpired with a seemingly untouchable type of talent, makes I have no words. I genuinely just have no words. I'm so in shock. I'm so in shock. All I know is on the 25th, Dallas is playing against the Lakers. I'm tuning in. I'm going out. I'm dressing in the best I can. Because that's an event. That's a spectacle. And we could potentially see LUKA play with the Lakers as soon as Saturday. So get ready for the 8th. Saturday the 8th, get ready. My gosh, it's going to be incredible. But shoot, we talked about just about everything I need to discuss. So now, it's your time to shine. We are in the championship rounds. That's right. Let's get it started. Let's get it popping. Make the show your own. It is time to go and discuss whatever you want to discuss about, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to discuss, whatever your questions are, whether it's boxing, whether it's basketball, whether it's the NBA, whether it's video games, anime, don't matter to me. If I can talk about it, I'll be about it. And you all can go and make the show your own. Whatever you want to discuss and talk about, we can make it happen right here and right now. The floor is yours. We got 30 minutes to an hour to make this stuff go, to make it time to shine, to make the world, indeed, your own. When it comes to what this show has to offer, yes, indeed. Get your questions ready. Get your comments and concerns. Whatever you want to debate about, we can talk about it right here Absolutely. But it's just, I mean, while you're getting your questions together, you want to just the amount of shock and awe that you have right now at this. Nobody's safe. Everybody's expendable. There is not a man in the NBA that is actually secure in their ability or in their stability with the organization. We have never seen this level of legitimate volatility for the whole of the NBA. We've never. In terms of nobody knows what to expect. We have never seen this much instability, this much shakeup, this much unknown for the NBA as a whole. With 2 days left, excuse me, in the trade deadline. I mean, like, there's loyalty is out the window now. It's been out the window for a hot minute. But it's loyalty in terms of what a team we want to keep you. We want you to sustain. Nah. It's done. We are now in the era of you be ready. Be ye ready at all times, because you can be moved in a second, in a heartbeat. The two people that knew they were secure as the cornerstones of their team got traded without them knowing. Kyrie didn't know any of this. Nope. Like Anthony Edwards is saying, yo, tell me if I'm getting traded. Don't blindside me like that. Everybody's scared. Everybody's concerned. Shoot, with this being the case, the Suns looking to move on Kevin Durant again. Stuff ain't done yet. That's the thing. Stuff isn't even done yet.
Hey, look at this.
Stuff is not even done. The world of sports is not even fully over when it comes to what this is. We could still see moves be made with mega stars getting shifted. Jimmy Butler could somehow still go to the Suns. We could see KD, for all we know, go and end up in Dallas. The Mavericks could use AD as a trade asset to get a different star. We could see that. For all we know, we could see KD go to Miami. Genuine. We could see Lonzo Ball potentially get shopped around. We could see Zion reportedly being either going to or teaming up with LaMelo Ball. Shoot, at this point, we could see Zion and LaMelo playing with each other. Because Zion doesn't like that he's not being able to be played by the Pelicans, because the Pelicans don't want to play him back-to-backs, even though Zion says, I can't play back-to-backs. He's voiced his disdain for playing in New Orleans. He's voiced that he doesn't like that. He's said in the past he wants to play, he would love to play for New England. Or not New England, excuse me. Play for the Knicks. The Knicks. Like, brother. There is so much shakeup right now, and shoot, if y'all have any details that's happening as this show's going on that I missed, please put them in the comments below. Put them in the chat, because we got to keep up to date with this. Again, we got 30 minutes. This is the championship rounds, but shoot, whatever y'all want to talk about, we can discuss. But my gosh, the ramifications of everybody is on the table now. We could see Dame moved, for all we know, if they feel that this experiment just isn't working. We could see Giannis going to the Warriors. Don't forget, the Warriors have reached out to the Lakers, the Bucks, the Suns, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Knicks. They have reached out genuinely to every single team in the NBA looking for a star. They are aggressively pursuing another star. They're aggressively pursuing the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo. The dream scenario, as with what's reported, they're looking to get KD, Steph, and LeBron all to play under the banner of the Warriors for at least one season. They want that to happen. Literally the Olympics in real life, or the Olympics in the NBA. They want to make that happen. They're desperate to get Steph a situation to be successful. They're desperate to get a star to play with Steph. Because Kuminga ain't working. Moses Moody ain't working. Podzinski ain't working. Nobody on that squad is panning out. Buddy Hield isn't panning out like they thought in terms of what his effect could be to take the place of Klay Thompson. Everybody right now is on pins and needles because nobody knows what to expect for the future of their franchise. And the people that need to make a move are more desperate than ever to make a move because now they see everybody in the circle of the league is now a viable option to make something happen. And at this point in time, it could be that we got to cut our losses and trade Steph Curry if you're the Warriors and restart from scratch. Because at this point, we can't get this man help. And do we want to waste the career of one of our perennial best players? Do we want that? Is that what they desire? Is that genuinely what they want to do? I'm so serious. That's what we're asking. That is indeed what we're asking. Or that's what the Warriors are asking themselves right now. Do we keep a star that we know we can't get help for, or do we make a move? Do we move off him at this point and restart from scratch? Get a major haul? Because at this point, with LUKA can get traded for 1-to-1, but for Steph, we could have got him for a much higher price. We could have got more assets, if we had traded him before. Now, trying to ride it out, it's not working. He's getting older. He just shot, 4 for 16 in the last game? Has been shooting abysmal. Has had multiple single-digit games in this season alone. For Steph Curry, he's been playing the worst we've ever seen. Father Time looks like it's kicking his butt right now. Do we really want to keep trying to ride this experiment, or do we take aim at restarting altogether? Because if we trade for another star, Kuminga's gone, Moody's gone, Podzinski's gone. At least 2 of them are gone. And some picks, whatever you got. So, shoot. This is a dire situation. This is a volatile figure. This is an entity that the NBA has never seen. An entity of chaos, confusion, and all around angst. Angst and uncertainty, stress and unpredictability. We are looking at the soap opera of the NBA. We were saying ratings were down. We were saying that the NBA is losing people. Fans, just like a Rusty Cage, said he ain't watching the sport no more. We got people genuinely that were turned off because they were like, this ain't what I signed up for. Now, the drama show, in the words of Gennady Golovkin, big drama show is here to stay. And it's just gotten bigger than we've ever seen in the history of this sport, arguably. We are seeing people that don't care about basketball all of a sudden knowing this is a huge deal. Brother, we are at we just popped the clutch on what the landscape of the NBA is going to be. We popped the clutch on the ramifications of this entire league. We just hit the next gear into what the world we can expect from basketball. We're at a crossroads. This ain't a fork in the road. My gosh, this is a gap that everybody all at once just jumped. We don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to land? Are we going to fall flat? Who's going to survive? Who ain't? We don't know what to expect. That's why we love this sport. That's why we love the NBA. That's why we love basketball. Again, basketball is what got me into the sports world as all. This is the drama that makes basketball one of the best sports in the world. It makes everybody at the drop of a hat all of a sudden wake up and pay attention. It's phenomenal. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's nothing like basketball, and there's nothing like boxing. My gosh, the best fight is better than just about anything in the sport. But with basketball, at the drop of a hat, it can make the world stop. The best fight you can make the world stop, and the moves that you can make in the NBA can make the world come to a halt. It just at the drop of a dime. Ripples just span throughout for years to come, as well as in the immediate. It's a tidal wave. It is a tidal wave. It is a tidal wave of just mess. It's just mess. But it mess in the best way. And I'm just, oh gosh, I'm at a loss for words. Give me 1 second real quick to make sure I got this stream is still working as accordingly. We are still talking about the championship rounds and whatever you want to discuss on the show. Put your comments you want to talk about. We can say it right now. We can talk about it right now. We can do whatever you all want to talk about for the next 15 minutes, 30 minutes in the show. We got time for whatever you all want to discuss. This is your time to shine. I'm just at a loss. I'm just at a loss. I'm legitimately at a loss for exactly what this whole spiel of new NBA reality is truly going to be like. I'm just, shoot, man. Shoot. Just, my gosh. Does anybody have anything they wanted to say? Does anybody? Because I am, for the past, it's been what, 2 days? Between Benavidez, Canelo getting confirmed to fight Crawford. Location and month. Benavidez now getting ready to fight Bivol or Benavidez. The trade with LUKA. The trade with Zach LaVine. The trade with De'Aaron Fox. The potential moves that can be made with Kevin Durant. The potential moves that going to be made with the likes of Lonzo Ball and Zion. I'm looking up sources. I'm reaching out to people. I'm doing everything I can. And I am at such a loss for reality. This doesn't seem real, but my gosh, it is. And it's incredible. It's just incredible. Let's not forget, we still got in the fight world, we still got Shakur Stevenson fighting Floyd Scoper. We still got Big Bang James versus Caballero. We still got Dingy Dubois versus Joseph Parker. We still got Inoue fighting in America and in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, it might be Nakatani. We still got Nakatani potentially one fight away from moving up to fight at 122. Bam Rodriguez still looking to make a statement, and he may soon move up from 118 to 120. Shoot, man. Royal Rumble, wrestling. We just had Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble. We just had the likes of Charlotte Flair came back. Joe Henry appeared. John Cena lost. ISO Speed got speared into oblivion. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns still got beef with each other. Kevin Owens just went through a death match with the likes of Cody Rhodes and lost. And I was going after Sami Zayn. There's so much just in everything. Oh, just in everything. It's just, it's incredible. I can't believe it. I genuinely can't believe it. And we're just at a loss. We can't wait to see what happens. And this is just Tuesday, let alone Thursday. My gosh. Let alone Thursday. We can see what transpires. We don't know what may happen in the NBA. We don't know what may happen in boxing. More so the NBA than anything, we could see a shift of monumental proportions. Shoot, let me check Twitter right now. We can see a shift right now in Twitter and something just got posted of somebody getting traded. Let me check Twitter real quick to make sure I'm on the ball with what exactly is coming down the pipe when this world of sports as a whole. Because I'm not about to miss nothing that we're going to get ready to see happen. Shoot. I'm not going to let this slip through my fingers. Let me take a drink to make sure I'm set and ready. Let me make sure I ain't missing nothing. I'm glad I got coffee today. But, what do you know? Another trade just came about. Another trade, ladies and gentlemen, another trade has just come about. Yes, indeed. And now, where's that? I just saw, hold on. Hold on, wait a minute. Yep, here we go. Mavericks trade Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin for the 76ers. It's not a mega trade, but it's still a trade nonetheless. So either way, stuff is happening. Moves are being made. LUKA just got introduced to the Lakers 2 hours ago. After the show was going on. With the 77 in jersey and all. In the purple and gold. I'm just, oh gosh. Shoot, man. I'm just at a loss for all this. The level of shock that has everybody genuinely concerned with what the next move's going to be. NBA is just, it's a drama show that just does not end. It's a drama show that doesn't end. It continues to make, it's a revolving door that never ends. That's why we love sports. It's a revolving door that just never ends. It just never ends. Just never ends. Never ends. Oh gosh. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what else goes on. But with all that being said, if nobody else has anything to say in this championship round segment, well, you can make the show your own. If everybody's good, if everybody's all right, if the show has been completed and everybody's got their own stuff and got everything out their system, well, I guess we can wrap it up, shall we? If you would, leave a like on the stream before you head on out of here. And with that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch, on this show on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. We have been having a blast. We have been absolutely phenomenal on this entire cavalcade of a phenomenal affair. And we still got more to come. It's just Tuesday. We got so much more to come, so much more coming down the pipe, so much more news to discuss. Breaking down fights, breaking down trades, whether it's boxing or the NBA, or anything else in between. We got the Super Bowl coming up that we got to talk about on Thursday. This weekend on Sunday, it's happening. Oh gosh, it's just the buck never stops, and we're gonna be here for the ride. All with you on the Watch. Well, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Also, don't forget, I got to do a show with the Got Next podcast. Good friend of mine, Mitchell Baldwin and Damo. I'll post a link to it in a community note so you can go see it. A phenomenal breakdown of the immediate reactions to the trade. Go check out his podcast. Go check out his show. I got to be a guest on it. It's been phenomenal. Can't wait for you all to see it. Go support his channel. Also, I'll post it most likely in the description. I'll make a separate community note. But go see it. Go check it out. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We're out of here. We'll see you on Thursday.